Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a blistering hot Saturday here in South Africa, a bit cooler up north. We've seen the start of the Six Nations. I haven't been on this channel for a while. As you can see, it's a nice summery day here by me, and I've dressed for the occasion. But let's start looking at what happened last night. France 43, Wales 0. The opening match of the Six Nations. Yeah, not unexpected. But what can you say about that game? For those of you who follow this channel, you'll know I do these short videos every now and again. I'm going to try and do them a lot more nowadays. Just quick recaps of games. Look at some stats. Look at what happened. Just general impressions to start off with. This was always going to be a France win. Just the Wales are on a 12 goal now, 13 game losing streak. Really not going very well. Warren Gatland's got a lot of challenges. Not sure we're going to see him still around after the Six Nations. Whatever he's trying desperately. But Welsh rugby is really in the doldrums at the moment. I'm not sure Welsh rugby is going to survive. This Six Nations. Hard not to see them get the wooden spoon again, especially after last night's performance. But yeah, they were certainly brave. You got to give them that. They were certainly brave, and they try to fire some shots. And you'll see from the stats, some of their stats aren't really that bad. France were just way too clinical, way too street smart, way too good for Wales, and there was never going to be a doubt, even though France didn't have a number of players on the night. So really a great performance by France. It's going to be hard to see them not challenging for the title this year. After coming close twice, they're certainly going to be the biggest challengers to Ireland's crown. It's going to be interesting to see. That'll be a huge game. Of course, that game's getting played in Dublin, so Ireland will feel rather confident playing at home at the Aviva. But yeah, you can see France really making a run for the title this year. They've got so much depth. They missed Gaël Fickou, they missed Charles Olivier, they missed Damien Penoir, and they still had wingers that scored tries. They've got some of the best depth in Europe, in the world at the moment, and they've got players coming through that are really good. Of course, Antoine Dupont was sensational as per normal. Romain Ntamack was great as well, until the red card, and it was a justifiable red card, to be very honest. But France were way too clinical. Every time they got into the 22, they basically scored, and almost with such ease that the Welsh defence really didn't know what was going on. And it's hard to fault Wales because they really played well. They played above themselves in a way, but still above themselves was still not good enough not to be whitewashed by 43 points. You got to ask yourself, where does Wales go from here? Will they get better? Can they get better? Or are they going to be staring down loss after loss after loss by the time the Six Nations ends? It's difficult to see either way. France, just so many good things to talk about there. But let's have a look at a couple of the incidents. So here we have the yellow card for Wales. The referee Paul Williams having a look at it. There's clearly a shoulder to the head there, but Louis Barret was falling in the process. So I think this was probably the correct call. There's an attempt to wrap, and the player was falling. So I think Paul Williams and them got it pretty correct here. Players know nowadays exactly what they need to do, and there's really no excuse for that. So that went up to the bunker. Now we have these bunker systems now, as we did in the World Cup, where it would go up for 10 minutes, and there's the bunker sign, and the player would leave the field for 10 minutes, and the bunker will review, obviously, the incident. But yeah, it's hard to fault the officials. They handled that one pretty correctly. Let's have a look at the red card incident to Romain Ntamack. You can see he's upright. There's a clear shoulder to the head. There was no attempt to wrap. That was a clear red to me. It's rather stupid. Players nowadays know they can talk about collisions and being in the moment, etc. But that one is a pretty clear-cut red card. He's going to be suspended, probably 2 or 3 games. So France are going to lose him for a while. If I was the French coaching team, I'd be livid at that. That was really stupid, and it's really going to cost them long term. They've got enough depth, they'll get over it, but this was really a stupid incident, and they're lucky it happened in the 70th minute. Now, just to look at some of the stats as well, just to underline the point, Wales had 5 entries into France's 22, didn't score a single point. France had 12 entries, average points 3.5 per entry. That just shows how clinical they were when they got into Wales's 22, and the scoreline pretty much reflects that. So that's something Wales will have to have a look at. Another interesting one, because this one shows just how much possession both sides had. Wales had enough possession in this game. They certainly did. And, 54% possession in the last 10 minutes. That's when France were down to 14 men. But 50% possession in the total game tells you they had more than enough ball to play with. And the scoreline doesn't quite reflect that. So, very interesting. Same here with the attack stats. If you look there, Wales made a lot more passes, a lot of the times trying to get themselves out of trouble. 158 carries against 143, and post-contact meters more than the French, which is extremely interesting. France made more line breaks, obviously, but it just shows that even though Wales had all this possession, they didn't really do that much with it. They weren't going anywhere, and that must be a worry for Warren Gatland. Defensive stats, same sort of thing. Wales made more tackles, which was expected. But if you see, France made a lot of tackles. Their defensive system was really good. 12 tackles missed. Wales missed 27. That was expected given the scoreline. But yeah, not great stats when you think of all the possession that Wales actually had in that game. So the scoreline certainly doesn't reflect what they would have wanted out of that possession. Just to underline some of those individuals that made a lot of tackles, Dafford Jenkins, Jack Morgan put in a lot of work. Gregory Aldred, who was the man of the match, and rightly so, also a lot of work for France. Not surprisingly, the line break stat favours all the French. Theo Atisogbe had an amazing game, and just you wonder how many of these wingers France actually have. Luis Biere is obviously somebody we know, and we know how good he is as well. So very impressive there as well. And final stat as well, Aldred, obviously the most carries for France, really put in a lot of work. Ben Thomas and Jack Morgan. Jack Morgan was really Wales's unsung hero for me, but really they didn't get any reward for all the effort they put in. So guys, that's all from me. Just give me your takes there in the comments. I'd like to see where you think Wales go from here. Can France beat Ireland in Dublin and win the Grand Slam and the championship? I know it's a little way away, but that's certainly going to be spicy to watch. I'm looking forward to the games later today. England-Ireland going to be huge. I'm not quite sure England's tactics of playing three fetchers are going to pay off for them, but if they can disrupt Ireland, they've certainly got a chance. Looking forward to that. I'll be back with another video then, but let me know your thoughts in the comments and we'll chat again. Cheers.